Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of APAC Dialogue. We have with our guest today Neelesh Kripalani. He is a CTO of Clover Infotech, and he will take us through the offerings of Clover Infotech and the business dynamics and also the future expansion areas for Clover Infotech. Before we start, a brief about APAC News Network. We are a media organization headquartered out of Noida with a pan India presence, and we focus on technology deployment across governance, healthcare, BFSI, manufacturing, education, startups, and the likes. So, without any further ado, I would like Nilesh to start with maybe probably a couple of things. One, if you can give us a brief idea about the genesis of Clover Infotech and also take us through an updated portfolio of the solutions and services that Clover currently offers. Over to you, Nilesh.
Sure. Am I audible?
Sure, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I am the CTO at Clover Infotech, and Clover Infotech is more than close to a 3-decade-old organization. We have been providing services across the various layers, in terms of right from the infrastructure perspective to the operating system, middleware, database, application support, application development, product implementation, product support, product consulting. So it's like a complete end-to-end service provider for various industry, while obviously our major expertise lie across banking, financial services, and insurance industry. But we also work with the other sectors from the ERP standpoint. So we have expertise around ERP implementation. So primarily a large set of expertise on Oracle Enterprise Business Suite and Oracle Fusion cloud services that we offer. Besides that, we are in India. We are present across multiple locations. So Mumbai, we have 2 offices in Andheri and Airoli, and we have offices in another office in Pune in West. We have an office in Gurgaon, Bangalore, and Chennai. And internationally, we are present in Middle East and North America with an office in New York. So this is a brief about Clover Infotech, Rajneesh.
Okay, thank you. So, what I would like you explained that one of your business lines is primarily the Oracle Fusion and the ERP implementation, and also you have certain BFSI solutions. So, if I may first ask you horizontally, technology wise, what are the different business units of Clover Infotech, like BFSI? What are the kind of nature of the solutions that you offer? So, if horizontally, technology wise, how would you categorize your business lines?
We offer various services, like I mentioned. If I may put it across, in terms of the entire security solution piece. So cybersecurity is area which covers just about all the aspects of cybersecurity, which includes governance piece per se. The entire application development, application maintenance, application support piece, the entire infrastructure management piece in terms of the data center support. We do not do too much on the end user side, but on the entire data center support piece, both production as well as DR environment, we take care of. We have a strong expertise on the analytics side, the entire BI, analytics, ML piece is something that we have a strong expertise on. Cloud is another area where we have a strong expertise on, both on Oracle Cloud, Amazon Web Services, then Azure per se, Microsoft Azure, and also in terms of the automation, RPA, robotics automation. We are also delving a lot on the AI ML side in terms of bringing in AI on the observability piece, for monitoring an end-to-end environment for our customers. So those are other areas that we are kind of working on. So in terms of horizontal, this is how it will be. From a vertical standpoint, like I mentioned, banks, financial services, insurance, manufacturing, retail, logistics are a few of the areas. And in banks also, we have expertise across the domain. So not just restricted to a certain area from a core banking perspective, but also core banking, treasury, retail assets, retail liabilities, treasury, payments, digital channels, all aspects are covered from a vertical standpoint as well.
First, let's come back to the horizontal part. Like you mentioned, for cloud, you work with Oracle as well as Amazon and Azure. So, for some of the other areas, like initially you mentioned the cybersecurity portfolio, or say the analytics BI portfolio, or even things like RPA that you mentioned. So, primarily, who are the vendors you partner with, or the solutions that you work with primarily?
So so the way we work is there are certain strategic partners that we work with. So when I say strategic partners, we have a long term engagement and a long term plan with these partners, and then there are opportunistic partnerships as well. So while strategic, I will go ahead and name those. Opportunistic depends on either customer driven request in certain areas where maybe they want us to help them out in a certain area, maybe say a CRM support, or that is how we work. So from a strategic perspective, we have the longest obviously partnership with Oracle. We've been partners for Oracle more or less since the inception per se, and we are very closely associated with Oracle. We in fact just won the cloud award at the cloud implementer award at the Oracle World per se. So very deep engagement with Oracle, not just restricted to India but across regions. Then for security specifically, we have IBM, because obviously IBM has some good products on the security side. So we are working closely with IBM on the security side. Besides that, on the like I said, Microsoft is another partnership on Azure and various other tools that we work on with Microsoft. So these are some of the strategic alliances that we have. Then the opportunistic would on the RPA side, UiPath is what we are working with. So UiPath, we have very in-depth knowledge. We are almost on the verge of completing the certification as well. So we will also be certified by UiPath. But at the same time, we are already working very closely with them in terms of getting the partnership done, and also working with their customers per se as well. So that engagement is also on from our perspective.
Okay, so you talked about the strategic partnerships, and you mentioned the verticals also, primarily banks, financial services, insurance, and then retail and logistics also you mentioned. So let's first stick to the Indian market. We'll come overseas later. So within the Indian market, which are some of the if I may say, the marquee customers across these verticals, and what sort of use cases of the solutions you have with them?
It's basically, see, we have, like I said, we are focused on the banking, insurance, and financial services side. So more or less, most of the private sector banks and private sector insurance organization and the financial services, we are working across all the private sector banks that you can name. Private sector insurance and private sector financial services organizations are the organizations that we are working for, and working across the board, across whatever horizontal services that I mentioned. In a lot of the cases, we would have our services uh, across various horizontals at these customer side.
Any of these larger deployments where the obviously the end-to-end deployments, as you mentioned, which you would like to highlight as an example for the viewer?
Yeah, so there are multiple example. We have a bank that we are catering to them across the board. So the way we classify our services are uh, run the business or run the bank, change the business, and transform the business. Change the bank, transform the bank. So we do the entire run part for them. So ensuring the BAU piece, ensuring lights on is what we call it. Ensuring that a lot of these services are very critical, because being a bank, it is like a 24/7 accessible service that is available at the click of the button. So obviously, you need to have the availability there. You because it is available online, you don't know when these services will be utilized. So the availability becomes critical. So my team is responsible for ensuring the 24/7 availability, in terms of monitoring, in terms of ensuring that the uptime is maintained at the highest level. Managing the SLAs, very stringent SLAs that we work on. So ensuring that we manage the SLA, and this would be across the board. So right, like I said, all the horizontal aspects, which include the data center piece, the data center support, as well as the application piece, providing application across the various towers, retail assets, retail liabilities, treasury, enterprise data, corporate customers. All aspects are kind of supported by us. So that is more from the run side of it. Then we also work on the change side of it, in terms of bringing in the change, in terms of looking at new product implementation, or looking at additional module implementation, or additional development that may be required by the bank. So taking care of the entire change part of it, in terms of working closely with a lot of our partners. Oracle obviously has a lot of products that is there. So we've done the entire the corporate portal, which is the non-logged in section of bank, for this particular bank. So while we are doing run the business, the entire website for the bank is developed and managed by us on a day-to-day basis. So that is from a change perspective. And then there are certain transformation projects that we do with them from time to time perspective. So currently we are looking at bringing in a complete platform that will take care of the observability part. So not just uh, when I say observability, it's not just about identifying an issue and raising an alert, but also identifying the underlying problem that could occur, which could lead to an issue, and eventually there needs to be a reactive kind of a involvement. So we are trying to bring in proactiveness in this entire piece in terms of ensuring that the entire environment is uh, managed in a way where a lot of things are preempted and resolved even before it kind of comes into a issue resolution or an incident per se.
Great. Thank you for that. Just one clarification before that. How much proportionately is the contribution from the domestic market and overseas? Is your focus on the developing geographies or more on the developed markets?
So, like I mentioned, in terms of the domestic, we are quite strong on the domestic market, and we have a. So the way we've kind of structured is our domestic business is run independently, and there's a lot of focus from the domestic perspective. Whereas from an international perspective, we have a separate team, international, to take care of the international geography. So we don't we try and avoid too much of an overlap wherever required. Since the domestic market for us is larger, we try and support the international business. In terms of the market, like I said, we have. While we obviously have, roadmap in terms of looking at various regions, but currently the focus area for us is from the developed market perspective, is the North America, and from a developing geography perspective it is Middle East. So these are the areas, and then APAC obviously is part of the support that we do from the domestic Indian piece person.
And since primarily the significant portion is still from the domestic market, what sort of go-to-market strategy you follow for the Indian market? The initiatives, the plans according to the go-to-market strategy, if you can elaborate on that.
So, the way we try and enter most of our customers are through the expertise that we've built. So the way it works is, the industry is obviously small. So in a lot of cases, if we've delivered well for one customer and he moves into a different customer, into a different organization, then he kind of calls us. So that would be one way. The other is obviously the hunting piece, where we focus on providing niche expertise across certain areas. So the way we've structured, so while I was mentioning the engagement that we have with one of the banks, where I was mentioning run the business, change the business, transform the business. So we have categorized our team, or segregated our teams accordingly. So we have a run team which takes care of the BAU delivery. We have the change team which takes care of the practices piece, and then we have the transform team, which is the COE team that I head, the Center of Excellence team that I personally head. And so practice is another area where we try and get a foot in the door. So looking at product implementation, product consulting kind of a scenario, fusion financials, or the entire digital you know the digitalization piece, or creating the entire digital presence for a customer. That is another area. The entire cloud migration strategy, lift and shift. So these are the areas which help us kind of get the foot in the door, and then obviously after that. Once we've delivered, then there are other areas where we have that we kind of take to the customer. So that is how it generally we start off small and then grow across the board in terms of various other services that we have.
So, if you can elaborate on the, you mentioned some of the what the COE does is the digitalization of the entire the bank structure that you mentioned, or the cloud migration. Any other things specifically which the Center of Excellence specializes on for customers?
Like I mentioned, any new areas or any new innovation that needs to be kind of taken up. Like I was mentioning, the entire observability point of view. So it's not it's not just uh, looking at just the logs and trying to identify an issue as a post facto piece. So we are building a tool where we are trying to kind of get into a more a preemptive kind of a mode. So a lot of automation piece, a lot of uh, innovation piece is what we look at. So in terms of tools, we look at tools like the RPA tool, UiPath, or from an AI ML part, LLM, large language models. Look at various other tools in terms of the log, for log reading or log uh, segregation. We have Logstash. So a lot of these tools that we bring in, we keep on evaluating these tools, private GPT, chat GPT, uh, UiPath. We keep evaluating, and we kind of bring in these tools. So while I mentioned that we have a partnership and we have a lot of areas that we kind of bring in. But from our perspective, we actually try and ensure that we kind of not depend on a particular partner or a particular technology, but go in, horses for courses is what we kind of look at. So whatever works for a particular customer is what we focus on, per se.
So there are quite a few, what I would say, the quite a few areas. I'll come to the AI part later, but quite a few IT services companies who are there offering many of the services on the lines of businesses that you offer. So, how would you uniquely differentiate yourself? One thing you mentioned initially was a sort of bit of a cross selling, that you work with that customers and different areas, then you offer them. But beyond that, how do you uniquely differentiate yourself from other IT services players?
So, like I mentioned, I'm from our perspective, the focus that we have is that we have kind of structured the team, segregated the team in terms of run, change, and transform, or so, and these are like services that we have. The important aspect is for each of the services we bring in expertise across the other teams as well. So, see, a run, generally, a lot of the run part that is done is, very resource intensive. You have for everything, for monitoring, for at least, you know, uh, so far, or whatever experience that we've had when we've taken over the run part from the incumbent vendor, and we've taken it up. It's a lot of person dependency. There's a lot of knowledge resident with the person. So we remove that. We look at processes, bringing in processes per se, have SOPs defined, have documentation, have run book. So one is, so when an A person moves out, a new person comes in, there is a complete documentation and handover that is taken care of. That is one aspect. And besides that, there's a lot of automation that we try and bring in as a part of our services. So a lot of improvements wherever we see that certain manual activities can be automated through either a self-service portal or a do-it-yourself portal, or automating it through a script or through a tool. So all those aspects that we bring in, and that is what we kind of have been able to showcase to a lot of our customers, do it for our customers. We have referenceable case studies that we showcase, and that gives them confidence that it's not just the regular service that we will offer, but also go beyond and above in terms of providing them improvements in the entire availability part. Similarly, on the change part, we just don't bring in technical capabilities. We also have functional capabilities. So a lot of the products that I mentioned, and ERP product, it's not just about the technical capability. It's not just about implementing these products. It is also about, having the functional knowledge, or having the, you should be able to engage with the business team as well. So that is where we differentiate. So it's not just, we are not just a technical IT services kind of a company. We also understand the functional aspect. We also understand the business. We understand the business criticality, and that is how we are able to make a difference to our customers. And obviously, the transform point of view, a lot of automation that we bring in as a part of our services, or a lot of improvements that we bring in, or the implementation methodology that we bring in, a lot of it is driven by the center of excellence, or the transform team. So that is how we kind of differentiate ourselves from a lot of the other competition per se. So I hope I am kind of answering your questions properly.
Yeah,
If
perfectly.
there's anything, please do.
Maybe on the AI part also, if you can elaborate again how effectively you have leveraged the AI and analytics, and if you can highlight through maybe a couple of use cases on that deployment on leveraging AI and analytics, that would be great.
See, AI per se, Rajneesh, is kind of, while obviously it's been there for quite some time, and it has evolved from what it used to be. It used to be very specific to today, where there are these large language models with a lot of data and a lot of algorithms from a neural network perspective and all. It's at a stage where it will really kind of evolve completely, and maybe transform. So it's at that kind of a stage. So from our perspective, what we realize is that wherever there is a lot of data available, okay, so where we have been effectively able to use the analytics part, or the artificial intelligence part, is where we have a lot of data. And so this would mainly be from the BAU side, in terms of trying to bring in more streamlined services and more stability, better monitoring, better alerts. Alerting mechanism is where we are able to use, because of the kind of logs that have been generated and the kind of data that is available. So a lot of these tools require a lot of data. So whereas so this is one case. If I have to offer this to a particular customer per se, is where in terms of ensuring that it is very relevant to the systems that we are running. This is one case that we have. Then there are obviously other generic areas that we have been able to successfully explore for ourselves. Obviously, one of being a IT services kind of an organization, obviously, uh, one aspect which has a lot of emphasis from our perspective, and the bandwidth that is required is in terms of ensuring, how do we streamline, the entire recruitment process. So a lot of the recruitment process for us has been streamlined. We've kind of built a tool completely internally, where right from the sourcing to the evaluation piece, the initial evaluation piece, a lot of this is automated using tools. So the initial evaluation, the initial interview screening and all that is all done using the AI evaluation piece, and then eventually for the final shortlisting and final screening, the HR part is where the manual piece kicks in. So these are a couple of areas where we, just to kind of give you a difference. One is, a little generic because the evaluation is more basis the knowledge available through the internet and through the data that is available, and the other is specifically in terms of the data available with the customer. So these are, a couple of use cases.
But for this recruitment evaluation case, is that data set sample, I would say, is it large and disparate enough so that you can apply analytics effectively?
Where we are using tools, where we are using tools where this data set is available, so we are using those tools and kind of getting it done. So it's not like I said, you are absolutely right. That data, how much ever I may have a repository of the profiles, have a repository of questionnaire, have a repository of various this, it's not large enough. So this is through the tools that are available, and that we use per se.
So,
These are not proprietary, obviously.
sure. And what sort of, if I may ask, for the next few quarters, maybe 4 or 5 quarters, next 12 to 18 months, what are the planned focus areas that can be in terms of expansion, products, services, anything? So, what are going to be some of the key focus areas?
So, see, from our perspective, uh, there are certain areas that we have kind of identified where we want to really, build our customer base on. While we have the expertise, but we want to kind of build our expertise on. I have been mentioning a few. We are doing certain POCs as well. So the DevOps, DevSecOps is an area. Observability is another area. The entire automation, it's not just RPA but intelligent automation using tools across the board, not just an RPA tool but using tools across the board, as rudimentary as Selenium to RPA tool to an AI tool, but then bringing in that kind of automation. And see, in terms of if we are able to take this to the market the way we have envisaged, I don't see there to be a challenge in terms of being able to attract the right set of customers, or and also work with our existing customers. And accordingly, I am sure some of these areas are going to be a good uh, commercial success as well for us. So these are certain areas that we are genuinely focusing on from our perspective.
And overseas, beyond North America and Middle East, where the focus is, any other specific areas or solutions that you would like to focus on?
Obviously, I'm not sure if I am the only person who should be commenting on this. It's more a management level decision discussion that we have. So there are definitely discussions that are on, but I don't know if I would be in a position to kind of elaborate further without getting some kind of go ahead from the team or the senior management person or the board.
So, one last question I'd like to understand for the domestic customers, large number of private banks, financial services players, insurance players you mentioned, or other retail and logistics. So, what sort of outreach campaigns you have? How do you reach out to these customers?
So, see, like I said, we have a very focused kind of a offering that we are very focused on BFSI kind of a setup, and from that perspective, our major focus, our major whatever engagement that we have is something that we focused mainly from a BFSI standpoint, and obviously from an ERP. Then there are other. So ERP, while I mentioned manufacturing, retail, logistics, it's mainly from an ERP standpoint. So these are the areas. But yeah, so I think this is a question. I think my marketing team will be in a much better position to answer, because they keep doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of engagement that we do. There are a lot of events that we do with our partners, be it the OEMs like the Oracles, then a lot of collaterals that are shared on a regular basis to our customers. Social media is we are quite active. My marketing team is very active from a social media perspective as well. So yeah, so that is how we kind of work. So I think I believe my marketing team would be in a much better position to kind of give you that perspective. For me, wherever my marketing tells me, or my business team tells me to go and help on the pre-sales pitch or the technical solutioning pitch, is where I get involved, frankly.
Sure, I understand. Thanks for your time.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.